Ever walk into a room and feel judged before you even say a word? That was every day for Marcus. At 62, with hands weathered by a lifetime of hard work and a quiet demeanor, he was the janitor at a high-flying tech firm. To the young, sharp-suited executives who roamed the halls, he was just part of the furniture. Invisible. Or worse, a target for their casual cruelty. They'd see him mopping the floors, his brow furrowed in concentration, and they'd snicker. "Look at the old man," one would say, just loud enough for Marcus to hear. "Bet he can't even spell his own name." They called him illiterate, a fossil, a man with no ambition. They saw his simple uniform and assumed a simple mind. Marcus never responded. He'd just nod politely, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes, and continue his work. He knew their assumptions were a reflection of them, not him. He already learned long ago that the loudest people in the room are often the ones with the least to say. The company, Innovatech, was on the verge of its biggest deal yet. A multi-million-dollar partnership with a Dutch tech giant, Vanderburg Industries. The deal would catapult Innovatech into the global market. For weeks, the office had been a pressure cooker. The CEO, a notoriously demanding man named Mr. Harrison, pushed his team to the brink. The lead negotiators, a group of slick, arrogant executives, strutted around the office like they'd already won. They were the same ones who took a special, almost sadistic pleasure in belittling Marcus. They'd leave deliberate messes for him to clean, drop condescending remarks, and treat him as less than human. To them, he was just the janitor, a man whose only purpose was to clean up after them. They had no idea that Marcus saw and heard everything. He knew more about the inner workings of the company than most of the employees. He saw the late-night panic, heard the whispered doubts, and felt the tension coiling tighter each day as the final negotiation approached. The day of the big call arrived. The boardroom was immaculate, thanks to Marcus, who had spent the early morning hours making sure every surface gleamed. The air was thick with a mix of cheap cologne and expensive anxiety. Mr. Harrison and his top team, including the very executives who tormented Marcus, were gathered around the large conference table. On the massive screen was the face of Mr. Vanderburg himself, the CEO of the Dutch company. He was a formidable figure, known for his sharp mind and no-nonsense approach. The negotiations started tensely. The Innovatech team, usually so confident, seemed flustered. Their carefully prepared pitch was falling flat. Mr. Vanderburg was asking pointed, technical questions that they were struggling to answer. Their translator, hired specifically for this call, was fumbling, missing nuances and crucial technical terms. The atmosphere went from tense to disastrous. Suddenly, a critical moment. Mr. Vanderburg, frustrated with the poor communication, switched entirely to Dutch. He fired off a rapid, complex question about proprietary software integration. The room fell into a stunned silence. The translator's face went pale. He stammered, I'm sorry. He's speaking too quickly. It's a very specific dialect. Panic erupted. The executives exchanged frantic, terrified glances. Their multi-million-dollar deal was slipping through their fingers because of a language barrier they had arrogantly overlooked. Mr. Harrison slammed his hand on the table, his face turning a deep shade of red. "Is there anyone here?" he bellowed, his voice laced with fury. "Anyone at all who can understand what he is saying?" The room was silent, the only sound the ticking of the clock, each second sounding like a hammer blow to their ambitions. The deal was dead. It was over. Just then, the boardroom door creaked open. It was Marcus coming in to empty the trash, just like he did every day at this time. One of the executives, a man named Chad who was particularly fond of mocking Marcus, sneered. "Great, just what we need, the janitor. Maybe he can mop up this disaster." The others let out nervous, bitter laughs. But Marcus didn't look at them. His eyes were fixed on the screen, on the stern face of Mr. Vanderburg, who was still speaking in Dutch, now listing his final grievances before ending the call. Without a word, Marcus walked calmly to the head of the table. He stood beside the panicked Mr. Harrison, his posture straight and dignified. He looked directly into the camera, and then, in flawless, articulate Dutch, Marcus began to speak. He began, "Meneer Vanderburg, mijn oprechte excuses voor de miscommunicatie. Sir Vanderberg, my sincere apologies for the miscommunication. The entire room froze, jaws dropped. Chad, who had been smirking just seconds before, looked as though he'd seen a ghost. The translator stared, his mouth agape. Mr. Harrison swiveled his head to look at Marcus, his eyes wide with utter disbelief. On the screen, Mr. Vanderberg's stern expression softened, replaced by one of surprise and intrigue. He leaned closer to his camera. Marcus continued, still in perfect Dutch. He didn't just translate, he understood. He addressed Mr. Vanderberg's technical concerns with a clarity and depth that the executives had completely lacked. He spoke of software architecture, of integration protocols, of market synergy. He wasn't just speaking the language, he was speaking their language of business and technology. For the next 20 minutes, Marcus single-handedly salvaged the negotiation. He acted as a bridge, not just of language, but of understanding. He conveyed Innovatech's genuine intent and technical capability, something the arrogant executives had failed to do. He anticipated questions, clarified ambiguities, and even added insights that demonstrated a profound understanding of the industry. The Innovatech team could only sit and watch in stunned silence as the man they had dismissed as an illiterate old fossil commanded the respect of one of Europe's most powerful CEOs. With each sentence Marcus spoke, their prejudice and arrogance crumbled, replaced by a humiliating wave of awe and shame. They had judged a book by its cover, and they had read it completely wrong. They had seen a janitor's uniform, but they had failed to see the man. As the call concluded, Mr. Vanderberg was smiling. "Mr. Harrison," he said in English, a newfound respect in his voice, "your team is unimpressive. But this man," he gestured towards Marcus, "this man is brilliant. I will sign the contract on one condition. He oversees the integration project from your side. I will only work with him." The deal was saved. But the power dynamic in the room had been shattered and rebuilt in a matter of minutes. When the call ended, silence once again descended upon the boardroom. But this time it wasn't the silence of panic. It was the silence of shame. Mr. Harrison, his face a mixture of relief and astonishment, turned to Marcus. Who are you?" he stammered. Marcus looked at him, then let his gaze drift over the faces of the executives who had tormented him. A small, knowing smile played on his lips. Marcus finally told his story. He wasn't just a janitor, he was Dr. Marcus Thorne. He had a PhD in computer science from the University of Amsterdam. He had been a successful software engineer in the Netherlands for over 30 years. But a tragic family event had forced him to move back to the US to care for his ailing grandchildren. Unable to find a comparable job at his age and needing a steady income and flexible hours, he took the janitorial position. It was honest work, and it allowed him to be there for his family, which was all that mattered to him. He never felt the need to announce his credentials. He believed a person's worth wasn't defined by their job title, but by their character. The executives, especially Chad, could barely meet his gaze. Their mockery, their jokes about him being illiterate, echoed in their minds, each one a testament to their own ignorance and prejudice. They had mocked a genius. The aftermath was swift and decisive. Mr. Harrison, humbled and deeply impressed, immediately promoted Marcus. He was given a corner office, a team, and the title of Director of International Integration. His salary was more than quadrupled. The executives who had bullied him were called into Mr. Harrison's office one by one. They were severely reprimanded, and some were even demoted. Their careers at the company were permanently tarnished, not by Marcus's revenge, but by the weight of their own actions. Marcus, true to his character, held no grudges. He treated his new colleagues, including his former tormentors, with the same quiet respect he had always shown. But things were different now. When he walked down the hall, people didn't see a janitor, they saw a leader. They saw a reminder that you should never, ever judge someone by their appearance or their job. The story of the janitor who spoke Dutch became a legend at Innovatech, a powerful lesson in humility and the hidden potential that lies within everyone. Remember, the quietest person in the room might just be the wisest. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more inspiring stories.